And we have Mr. Robert Góralczyk joining us to discuss the Chinese situation with China. Good afternoon, sir. Delighted to have you with us.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Hello, hi there. So Lavrov, Xi meeting today. I think just to make a small little light note of this, maybe Mr. Lavrov is getting his plane fully serviced while he visits Beijing.
I think so, but of course, it's such a visit is a kind of end of part of the negotiations which been made before the visit. So this is a kind of cake on top, right? So those negotiations wouldn't bring anything to what's happened already, but could be changed something in the future, right?
Right. Well, what's the main focus, do you think, of their visit today in Beijing?
I'm afraid so. They will talk about how they like the propaganda, using words, typical propaganda words, deepening relations between the Beijing and Moscow. It's very difficult to find out what could be hid under this words, but because we're talking about these two countries which never say anything openly. And it's top secret what they are talking about, and we just can expect some boring announcements about this good relations, trade relations, etc., without coming to the details, right? Mm-hmm. But details are obviously coming out when some, let's say, for Wall Street Journal made. I found on the internet that Wall Street Journal made the investigation on Chinese trade with Russia, and they find out that in previous year the export of shovel loader from China rise up to several 100%, and the shovel loader and other trench digging equipments are very expected by Russian forces on the Ukraine front, because apart from the drones, parts for tank and fighters jets, and semiconductors, they're buying almost everything from China. So the biggest winner of this war are China at the moment.
Right, and we're just discussing whether it would be possible to introduce some sanctions on Chinese companies. And Janet Yellen visited China just the day prior, right, to Mr. Lavrov. And I was wondering, how do you assess the state of US-China relations now that Henry Kissinger is no longer here? What can we expect in the future?
I'm afraid so there will be some only warnings from the Washington, because China is still too important trade partner for United States. So they can warn China on some only issues, like, for example, semiconductors, that semiconductors cannot be sold to Russia. But on other hand, heavy trucks could be sold, right? Because also Wall Street Journal found so the number of heavy trucks rise up 1,000%. Mm-hmm. Export of the heavy trucks, which are able to carry more than 20 tons. So obviously our trucks are for the military purposes. So that's what I'm afraid it will be. So there will be a kind of warnings, and nothing else could happen, unfortunately, because to impose these sanctions on China will be finished with the trouble on Chinese-American trade relations. So for both sides, it's very inconvenient situation.
Right, and it seems that the situation in the Asia-Pacific, that's one of the issues on the agenda for Mr. Lavrov's visit. And I just wanted to sort of discuss Taiwan. Is there any change on that front? How is it looking? I mean,
I'm afraid that so the world will be continue this hypocritical solution, which was introduced by China many years ago. So officially we're talking about Taiwan, which is, let's say the truth, that Taiwan is a country with own president chosen on democratic elections, their own parliaments chosen by democratic elections. And officially no one is recognizing as a country Taiwan. Non-officially everyone is dealing with Taiwan. So that's why I said this hypocritic situation, because the country exists and we just pretending, so there is no such a country, right? So I'm afraid so that will be continued on this way, and even the government in Taipei is also support this way of official propaganda, official thinking, because it's giving a kind of safe haven for Taiwan in this case, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Robert Góralczyk, good friend of ours and chief of the international desk there at TVP Info, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much indeed.